That's great. That's great. Did you see that?
Okay, y'all set?
All right, good.
Okay.
All right.
Please remain standing for the playing of the national anthem by the VMI Regimental Band and the invocation by Chaplain Park.
Let us pray. We humble ourselves before you, O God. Following 4 years of unrelenting effort, perseverance, and grit, we're assembled here to graduate the class of 2016, to the amazement of some, to the satisfaction of all. We observe that not all who started this course have completed, some by way of choice, some by way of consequence, some by way of circumstance are not here. But these cadets are. These cadets are here to be honored for completing the requirements of a college that does not do ordinary. And what is it that defines us as something other than ordinary? Here, O God, you've drawn together men and women who choose honor, who live integrity, who pursue excellence. Here we have students who give themselves to service, who respect authority, who embrace citizenship, and in many cases, people who believe in you. Here, O God, you've gathered those who don't just show up, who don't just get by, who take no pleasure in bare minimums. For here at VMI, we desire more. We dig deeper. We strive harder. We bond closer. And here, O God, we love each other. You've promised that where brothers dwell together in unity, there the favor of God is. We have known that favor. We've been the recipients of your blessings. We acknowledge, O God, that we are not complete. We've not arrived. Our love is not perfected. But here at VMI, we do approach what you desire for all men everywhere. We have known life at VMI because we have known love. And for this experience, for this time, for this VMI, we say thank you, God. Amen?
Amen.
Please be seated. Senator Kaine, Mr. Ramsey, members of the VMI Board of Visitors, members of the Academic Board, faculty and staff, families and friends of today's graduating cadets, and members of the Corps of Cadets. Welcome to this commencement ceremony, the climax of 4 years of diligent study and hard work by the class of 2016. I have the great pleasure, as we begin this morning's ceremony, to welcome back to VMI Senator Tim Kaine. He will be formally introduced in a few moments by the first class president. However, I want to take this opportunity to extend my personal welcome to him and express on the part of the entire VMI community our sincere appreciation for him being with us today. This is, in fact, Senator Kaine's 7th visit to the Institute, which began in 2006, shortly after he was elected governor of the Commonwealth. Senator Kaine, you're always welcome here, and we look forward to your remarks this morning. Graduation from VMI is a great personal achievement, but it is an achievement that cannot be reached alone. Many others have contributed to the success of today's graduates: parents and grandparents, guardians, brothers and sisters, friends, brotherettes, faculty, staff, coaches, and host families, to name just a few. VMI is particularly grateful to parents and grandparents for encouraging and sustaining their sons and daughters, grandsons and granddaughters throughout these cadet years. So may I ask the parents to please stand and receive our thanks. And now probably those that are really responsible. How about grandparents standing and receive our thanks? This is certainly a proud day for you. Universities and colleges are many things to many people, but at the heart of any great institution of higher education, I feel, is its faculty. They are the ones who teach and guide, counsel, and encourage young people on a day-to-day basis. And I include in this group our military staff and those who coach our athletes. For at VMI, we believe that the academic and the physical aspects make for a full and complete education. Please join me in expressing our thanks to the Institute's faculty. The class of 2016 matriculated in August 2012 with a strength of 508, and today will graduate 302. Adding graduates from other classes, today's ceremony will see 330 cadets cross the stage and receive a VMI diploma. And by the end of the summer, a total of 163 members of the class of 2016, 54% are projected to commission in the Armed Forces of the United States. Some took their commissioning oath yesterday and received the rank of second lieutenant or ensign. Others will soon be commissioned upon completion of summer training or the officer candidate school program. These numbers are especially commendable and reinforce VMI's historic mission of producing citizen soldiers. Many VMI cadets, staff, and faculty have been called to active duty in support of this long, current, tough war on terror, thus placing their lives and their cadetships temporarily on hold. In fact, last week, I met with and farewelled 8 cadets to active duty in the Virginia National Guard as they head for Qatar, the Gulf, and the greater Middle East. In addition, there are parents and family members and others in the audience this morning who have served. Would all of you patriots, veterans, and those currently serving please stand and receive our appreciation for your service. I want to thank the class of 2016 for your leadership over these 4 years of your cadetship. That work began almost from the very start of your cadetship by unifying for a noble cause. You recall as RATs, you raised greater than $25,000 for wounded veterans. You were especially successful in organizing and conducting this year's RAT line, which challenged the new cadets to reach the high standards that you set for them. Had it not been for the excellent example and the professionalism you set and your support as impacted and provided by the Dyke system, no doubt many more RATs would have succumbed to the challenges of VMI. Instead, attrition of this year's RAT class was historically at one of our lowest levels in history. The rat mass breakout in bitter, single-digit, dangerous weather conditions in February of this year certainly demonstrated the very best of your planning, your maturity, and your leadership. It was a dangerous day, as you recall. You organized and carried out a ring figure that brought credit and admiration to your class. And as a class, you were present during the years that saw significant anniversaries and celebrations for the Institute and for the nation. You were present in the year that marked the 175th anniversary of the founding of the Institute, the 150th anniversary of the Battle of Newmarket, and the 100th anniversary of the beginning of the First World War, in which 1,800 VMI alumni served. You marched in the second inaugural of President Obama and in the inaugural parade for Governor McAuliffe. And what a contemporary list of activities that you have provided. Community service, active in all of our local schools with our Character Counts program, hosting of Special Olympics to large numbers, succeeding in winning nationally and internationally in club sports, rugby, lacrosse, boxing, wrestling, and powerlifting, to name but a few, and wonderful participation in a broad set of academic and other activities. And certainly the first-class leadership with good coaching of our NCAA teams are now seeing a very positive approach to one core, one team, one fight in NCAA athletics. In sum, you have advanced professionalism, you've advanced civility, you've advanced the spirit of VMI. According to your secretary to the General Committee, Cadet Zachary Hale Turek, and I quote, "None of the accomplishments of the class of 2016 would have been possible without the support from parents and other family members who have been backing 26 all the way. We started as kids," he has written, "but with their encouragement, we have stood the test of VMI and will make the Institute proud after moving into the next phase of our lives," end quote. It has been said many times, but perhaps deserves repeating today, that today represents a passage from preparation to fulfillment. Such turning points come rarely in one's life. So grasp its potential and hold yourself ever open to its many possibilities. Just by selecting VMI as your pathway to the future reveals your determination, your resolve, that wonderful quote by Jackson at Jackson Arch. All higher education is demanding and challenging, but a VMI education tests you at all levels. You have met the test. Your individual resolve has paid off, and we congratulate you. And now move forward with your lives, build on your individuality and what makes you so distinctive, but also remember the importance of community and your role within it. Community provides the environment, the structure, the systems in which it is possible to be whatever you resolve to be. Hold on to your concept of honor. It's the foundation stone, the very bedrock of VMI. You've heard me say since you were rats, be on parade 24/7, care bone deep about people, and lead from the front. Your role in ensuring strong families is terribly important today. Use your talents to their utmost and strive to develop new talents, new knowledge, and new directions. People will hold you to a higher standard because you are a VMI graduate. This high expectation cannot be avoided. It comes with the ring, and it comes with the diploma. Embrace it as the heritage that now has been passed on to you by former graduating classes, and strive always to preserve and enhance it. Press on, the open road awaits you, and Godspeed. VMI is so very proud of you. It is now my pleasure to introduce the valedictorian for the class of 2016, Cadet Zachary McKee Hurd from Boca Raton, Florida. The valedictorian at VMI is peer elected by classmates, and it's truly a high honor. Mr. Hurd majored in mechanical engineering He will be commissioned in the United States Army at the end of ROTC summer camp. Mr. Hurd.
Good morning, class of 2016. Thanks, sir. And fellow cadets, members of the faculty and staff, distinguished guests, particularly Senator Kaine, thank you so much for being here. And General P, thank you. I know you don't have much of a choice being here today, but we appreciate your dedication to this school. Mr. Ramsey and other members of the Board of Visitors, thank you for being here as well. I hope you all can find a way to lower our tuition. As General P said, parents and loved ones, none of this would be possible without you. Thank you so much for everything. We can't tell you enough how much we appreciate you. And finally, a quick hand for the VMI class 2016. I'd like to start off with a quick story about myself. I didn't exactly academically qualify for VMI, and I would not be here today without the help of my high school lacrosse coach, Jeff Goldberg. He made a phone call to the former VMI lacrosse coach at the time, and that single phone call paved the way for my admission and gave me the opportunity of a lifetime. So thank you, Coach. Ladies and gentlemen, as General P said, the people of VMI are what make this place the phenomenal institution that it is. There's no trick to that. There's no shortcut, no matter how much of that sink water we drink in barracks. This school is nothing without the faculty and staff that make this place what it truly is. They have a positive and sometimes frustrating influence on us every day. VMI is a very imperfect place. I think I can speak for all of us when I say that we had no idea what we were signing up for when we signed that matriculation book. I've seen enough naked men in the past 4 years to last a lifetime. But along the way, there have been a number of people who have inspired us. VMI is the home of the two best teachers I've had in my entire life. Lieutenant Colonel Taylor in the Mechanical Engineering Department, who, despite all of his attempts to fail us, ultimately brings out the best in each of us. And Colonel Seamers in the Applied Mathematics Department, currently ranked number 9 in the nation. Also, according to Forbes, VMI is ranked 8th in the nation for liberal arts. So clearly, the faculty here are hands down some of the best in the country. In addition to the faculty, there's the Commandant staff, who present us a large amount of resiliency training every week. There's a lot of stuff they do that we don't like. For example, taking away our beloved Echo Shuffle and Bravo Basefoot, as well as the regimental commander's power to fall out his or her own corps after formation. But despite this, they give us the tough love that only someone as passionate about VMI as our own Uncle Gary can provide. Please, Lieutenant Colonel Faust, get them to be more cool like you. The ROTC departments here also show this passion for tough love. We've been very fortunate to be exposed to the great military leaders like Lieutenant McConnell, Captain Ridings, and Colonel Vincent, who love to improve us and challenge us just as much as they want a good dip. Between the ROTC staff's expert knowledge and experience with leadership, tactics, and drill, as well as Gunnery Sergeant Finch's fire mixtapes, they all find a way to teach us something new while getting us excited about the military. And let us not forget the athletic coaches here who have to work between the time-consuming academic and military obligations. Many of us, like myself, would not be here today if it weren't for you. I encourage you all to continue your good work in producing the well-rounded men and women that represent the Institute and the intercollegiate arena. Last but not least, this school would not be complete without the phenomenal support staff that run the show behind the scenes every day. From the janitorial staff who clean up barracks from the previous night's trips to McAdoo's and Palms, to the mailroom staff and our beloved Bill. Only cadets really get to know him, but this guy remembers the package, or not the package, but the mailbox number for every cadet at this school and pretty much every cadet in history. So he does his job with a smile every day. We love seeing people like that. And additionally, we would be lost without the human resources in each department who keep us organized and on track. To all of you, we appreciate your hard work. As a class, we are no doubt a very weird but accomplished mix. Look at anyone graduating today, and even if they're in the Air Force, they are better than you at something. We've got studs going into all walks of the military, including elite tryouts like BUDS in Army and Navy EOD school, as well as Ranger school. We've got people who are much smarter than I am going on to top medical school, graduate school, and law school. Lucky for them, they get to go see what real college is like. And we've got people going to work right away, which is probably why we have the 29th highest paid graduates in the country. Lastly, there's a number of us, like myself, who still need to go find a job while we wait to grow up and go to military training, which is also probably why we're only number 29 on the highest paid graduates list. As we move forward, please don't forget all of the incredible people that make this place so special. Across the board, there is someone here finding a way to positively influence and develop us as young men and women. It's a privilege to get to know all of you and this school, VMI, a damn good place to be from. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hurd. I will now ask Cadet Scott A. Beasley of Fancy Gap, Virginia, your first class president, to speak briefly to his brotherettes and then introduce our commencement speaker, Senator Tim Kaine.
Thank you, General P. Good afternoon, Senator Kaine, Mr. Ramsey, General Mrs. P., General Mrs. Smith, General Mrs. Green, distinguished guests, faculty and staff, family members, Corps of Cadets, and most importantly, brotherettes. I've got a speech written here, but I can't follow that up, so I'm gonna just ask if you do something with me that we've done ever since y'all elected me president, and I don't deserve to stand up here in front of y'all, because that is the truest and best honor that I could think of. Because I love each and every one of you with all of my heart, and y'all mean more than anything else to me. So I just wish that you would bow your heads with me and let me pray for you as we go along in our lives, and we can continue. If you don't wish to, you don't have to. Father, thank you for these men and women sitting here before us today. Thank you for putting them in my life and giving me an opportunity to learn and grow with them. They're some of the best people I've ever met. They're going off to serve the country. Please protect them, protect their families, keep us all safe. Got us all to glorify you in everything that we do. But I thank you for bringing us all here together. You've given us experiences that will last a lifetime and have changed our lives. Please continue to influence them as their careers continue, and please protect them in everything that they do. In your name I pray, amen. We do have one thing that we need to do, though, Brother Atz. For the past 4 years, there's one person in your lives that's made this feat seem manageable, and she's sitting in the stands right behind you. I'd like to ask that all the 2016 moms please stand and be seen, because you stood in the shadows for 4 years, and y'all have been the foundation that's kept us strong. And lastly, to our rats, 2019. I'm going to catch hell for saying this, but y'all had a harder rat line than we had. But the reason you had a harder rat line is because they're sitting right there and they made it hard. So as you continue along in your cadetship, please always be humble, and remember one thing: be quick to listen and slow to judge, because it's going to take you far in your time here at VMI. That's all I have to say. Thank you. It's now my pleasure to introduce our graduation speaker, Senator Timothy M. Kaine. Senator Kaine was raised in Kansas City and holds degrees from the University of Missouri and Harvard Law School. He practiced law in Richmond, Virginia for 17 years, and early on was involved in public service with an impressive record of contribution. Senator Kaine was first elected to office in 1995, serving as a member of the Richmond City Council and then as mayor of the city. He became Lieutenant Governor of Virginia in 2002 and was elected as the 70th Governor of Virginia in 2005. He also served as the chairman of the Democratic National Committee from 2009 to 2011. Senator Kaine was elected to the United States Senate in 2012. He serves on the Armed Services, Budget, Foreign Relations, and Agent Committees. He's a ranking member of the Armed Services Readiness Subcommittee and the Foreign Relations Subcommittee on State Department and USAID Management, International Operations, and Bilateral International Development. He is a founder and co-chair of the Bipartisan Career and Technical Education Caucus. Senator Kaine is married to the Honorable Ann Holton, who currently serves as the Commonwealth Secretary of Education. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Senator Kaine as our class's graduation speaker.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Scott, for that great introduction. Welcome to graduates, VMI cadet, faculty and administrators, families and friends. And I want to thank you so much, especially to my friend General P, for extending the invitation to me to be with you on this special day. One of the great things about public office is being invited to be with people on special days like this. I was honored to address the VMI community on graduation day 9 years ago when I was governor, and it's great to be back. To the more than 300 cadets graduating today, I join your loved ones in expressing to you just how proud and excited we are of all you've accomplished and of where you are going from here. More than half of you will continue your military career by commissioning into a branch of the armed forces, a few mobilizing to deploy overseas with the Virginia National Guard as early as this week, while others will enter the civilian and private sectors or pursue graduate degrees. No matter what path you've chosen or what future paths you choose, VMI has given you the tools you need to succeed as American leaders at a time when we need them. Since my last appearance at a VMI commencement, my life's changed a little bit. I was elected to represent Virginia in the Senate and now have the honor to serve on the Armed Services, Budget, and Foreign Relations committees. I was also recently added to the Aging Committee. I can't imagine why. My committee assignments have given me a new and different perspective on the world. I've traveled to more than 20 countries since taking office in 2013, and the highlight of every trip is the opportunity to meet with great Virginians, including VMI graduates, who serve abroad in the military,
or as foreign service officers, Peace Corps volunteers, USAID professionals, intelligence analysts. And on a personal note, one of my children has entered the military and currently serves as a Marine infantry commander, where he often works with squared-away officers who hold VMI degrees. I'm mindful of and motivated by the VMI example. Just last week, I introduced a resolution in the Senate honoring one of your finest graduates, General George C. Marshall. Those of us who work in the national security world, we talk about the three-legged stool of national security: defense, diplomacy, and development. General Marshall is a model of all three: Chief of Staff of the Army during World War II, post-war Secretary of State, and author of the Marshall Plan that rebuilt Western Europe as a bulwark against the Soviet bloc. His leadership and his clear-eyed vision of the world was a testament to this place and the foundation that he developed here as a young man. In every one of America's wars and conflicts since this institution was founded in 1839, VMI graduates have continually risen to the nation's call. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about that call. For those of you who received a commission yesterday, you swore an oath to, quote, support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. What an interesting oath. Think about that. A military officer doesn't pledge to support and defend the United States, but instead pledges to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. So do military enlisted personnel. So does the President of the United States. And a United States Senator takes the same pledge. Let's look at the pledge we make together and apply it to our current situation. On August 8, 2014, President Obama initiated a bombing campaign against ISIL, the Islamic State in the Levant. ISIL was rapidly taking territory in Syria and Iraq, and left unchecked, posed a threat to the United States consulate in Erbil, Iraq. Within a few weeks, though, by the end of August, the imminent threat to the United States was over. But the President determined, correctly in my view, that ISIL posed a long-term threat to the U.S. and its allies, and that we needed to, quote, go on offense against ISIL. He described the threat to the American public on a televised address the evening of September 10, 2014, and he asked Congress to support him in that mission. 21 months of offensive war later, thousands of Americans have been deployed to fight ISIL, including many VMI graduates. Virginians connected with the USS Harry Truman Carrier Strike Group are deployed there right now. We've launched over 9,000 airstrikes, and we've spent more than $7 billion. And the original theater of battle, Iraq and Syria, has expanded to include military action against ISIL, elements in Yemen, Libya, Afghanistan, and ground fighting, as well as airstrikes. As ISIL has conducted widening terrorist attacks in the Middle East, Europe, and Africa, far from the original fields of battle, there are ongoing discussions now about whether U.S. military force should be used in additional countries to battle the ISIL threat. That is of direct interest to each of you, and it is of direct interest to me as the father of someone in the military. So far, Congress, despite repeated requests from the President, has refused to debate or vote to authorize the military action against ISIL. Congress has strongly criticized the President for virtually every aspect of the anti-ISIL strategy, but Congress has been unwilling to vote either to authorize the war or to stop it. The May 5th edition of the New York Times carried two important stories, really important stories about the war on ISIL. On page A1, an article described the combat death of Navy SEAL Charles Keating IV during a firefight against ISIL in northern Iraq. Charlie was a third-generation service member serving his third tour in Iraq. He is one of 17 American military members who've been killed since August 2014 while deployed in the war against ISIL. The others are names that aren't mentioned enough, and so I want to mention them. Petty Officer Second Class Ryan Daniel, U.S. Navy. Staff Sergeant Lewis Carden, U.S. Marine Corps. Private Christopher Castaneda, U.S. Army. Private First Class Montarius Daniel, U.S. Army. Petty Officer Third Class Devon Doyle, U.S. Navy. Captain William Du Bois, Jr., U.S. Air Force. Major John Gary, U.S. Air Force. Seaman Philip Maines, U.S. Navy. Airman First Class Nathaniel McDavitt, U.S. Air Force. Lance Corporal Sean Neal, U.S. Marine Corps. Tech Sergeant Anthony Salazar, U.S. Air Force. Corporal Jordan Spears, U.S. Marine Corps. Sergeant Joseph Stifter, U.S. Army. Major Jonathan Walker, U.S. Army. Master Sergeant Joshua Wheeler, U.S. Army. And First Lieutenant David Bauders, U.S. Army. The New York Times story about Charlie Keating's death included a surreal account of a back and forth between different administration officials over whether his death in a firefight against ISIL was a, quote, combat death. On page A14 in the same day's New York Times, there was another story. It described a lawsuit filed by Army Captain Nathan Smith, an active duty officer deployed in Kuwait as part of the war against ISIL. Captain Smith is also a third-generation service member with multiple deployments since 2010. He believes, as I do, that America should be engaged in military action against ISIL, but he also believes that the Constitution specifies that a decision about war must be made by Congress rather than the President. And in his own words, quote, Congress is AWOL. And so while affirming under oath that he intends to continue to follow all orders he has given, he's asked a court to declare whether or not this 21-month war, initiated by the President and not ratified by a vote of Congress, is in fact constitutional. In both articles, we see sacrifice by service members. Charlie Keating sacrificed to serve, and then he paid for that sacrifice with his very life. Nathan Smith sacrifices to serve, and he may even jeopardize his own military career by filing a lawsuit challenging whether the war against ISIL is constitutional. And in both articles, we see serious questions about American political leadership. Why would the administration quibble over whether Charlie Keating's death was, in fact, a combat death? And is Congress really AWOL when it comes to authorizing military action against ISIL? What must we do to honor the oaths that we take to support and defend the Constitution of the United States? Let's look at the Constitution for a minute. The powers of the legislative branch, the first of the three co-equal branches, are laid out in Article 1. And that article clearly gives to Congress the power to declare war and to provide budgetary support for the nation's defense and other priorities. The President, pursuant to Article 2, is designated as the Commander-in-Chief of the military. And the framers of these clauses, forgive me for really liking them, they were virtually all Virginians, especially the principal drafter, James Madison, had a very clear sense of how these powers would interrelate. War should only be initiated by Congress. But once war is initiated, the President, rather than Congress or any of its members, is the civilian commander responsible for the direction of military action. The only understood exception to this balance was the recognition that a president, as commander-in-chief, can act immediately to defend against an imminent attack on the United States. But to go on offense against any enemy requires a vote of Congress. Now, we take this balance of powers for granted now, but it is important for all of us as Americans to remember just how radical it was at the time and how radical it is today. Throughout the history of mankind, the initiation of a war has been for the monarch, the king, the emperor, the sultan, the executive. It has been an executive function. And it's still that way in virtually the entire world. But it's not that way in the United States. When our Constitution was drafted, there were those like Alexander Hamilton who wanted war to be primarily an executive function. But James Madison prevailed. He hasn't had a good musical written about him yet, but he won a very important battle, and he prevailed in this. And he essentially made an effort to change the course of history with the decision that war should not be initiated without a vote of the people's elected legislature. In a letter to Thomas Jefferson in the 1790s, he explained why. Quote, "Our Constitution supposes what the history of all governments demonstrates, that the executive is the branch most prone to war and most interested in it. It has accordingly, with studied care, vested the question of war to the legislature." On a separate occasion, Madison described this particular clause as the single most important element in the entire Constitution. Quote, "In no part of the Constitution is more wisdom to be found than in the clause which confides the question of war or peace to the legislature and not to the executive department." So why does it matter that we begin a war with a vote of Congress? I submit it matters because of the sacrifice you make, and the sacrifice that was made by all those who stood earlier and received our applause and honor. All who volunteer to serve in the military do so knowing that there are many risks. The most serious risk is war, where lives are lost or dramatically changed. We've lost 17 American troops in the war on ISIL, and many others have been wounded. Madison believed that there needed to be a compact between the political leadership and those who are risking their lives. The compact is simple. It's simple. Unless a war has the support of the people's elected legislative branch, as demonstrated by their voting in support of it, we shouldn't order troops to risk their lives in that war. What could be more immoral than ordering troops to risk their lives in a war that Congress is unwilling to publicly support? I asked General Joe Dunford, the current chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, about this at an Armed Services hearing about a year ago. I noted that we were at war without a vote of Congress, and I inquired, would it make a difference to the troops deployed in this war if Congress would finally vote on it? He said that it would make a difference, and here's what he said. Quote, "I think what our young men and women need, and it's virtually all that they need, is the sense that what they are doing has meaning, has value, and has the support of the American people." More recently, General Jim Mattis, who followed General P at the commander of U.S. Central Command, also talked about the need for a congressional vote, and he said this, "Worth more than 10 battleships or 5 armored divisions is a sense of American political resolve." I maintain that the absence of a congressional vote on the war against ISIL suggests we lack resolve. Our allies and our adversaries read it that way, and our troops wonder if we've got their backs in this important fight. So why has Congress been silent? When President Obama spoke to the American public about the need to take action against ISIL in September 2014, I drafted and introduced a congressional authorization to take military action the next day, to take action against the terrorist group ISIL, so that the military action would be lawful. My proposal was eventually heard, modified, and voted out of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee in December 2014, but there it died on the Senate floor with no action. In June of 2015, as the war continued, as the expense grew, as the number of American casualties multiplied, I introduced a bipartisan war authorization in the Senate with my foreign relations colleague, Republican from Arizona, Senator Jeff Flake. A bipartisan group of colleagues in the House introduced the identical bill on the House side. But to date, our proposals, June of 2015, nearly a year ago, have not received meaningful debate or vote in committees or on the floor of either chamber. When asked why they are unwilling to vote on this ongoing war against this definite terrorist threat, many in Congress assert the president already has the power to do it without us. They cite the September 2001 vote of Congress to allow the president to take action against the perpetrators of the 9/11 attack. But ISIL didn't form until 2 years after the 9/11 attack. And so that claim is highly controversial both within Congress and among legal analysts. I think the real reason for congressional inaction is a desire to avoid accountability. It's easy to criticize the president, and I've done so, starting with my sharp criticism of the initiation of an offensive war without a congressional vote. But ultimately, it's not the president who has the duty under the Constitution to declare war, it's Congress. This is a responsibility assigned to Congress under Article 1. And members of Congress, in my view, have chosen to avoid a vote on the theory that either a yes vote or a no vote carries political risk. That risk is nothing compared to the risk of our service members who are deployed overseas, but it's the worry of political risk that stops Congress from acting. In my view, that is a shameful abdication of responsibility. Congressional inaction not only shows a lack of resolve, it also sets a very dangerous precedent. We've allowed President Obama to wage an executive war of his choosing without any congressional permission for nearly 2 years. It is not hard to imagine that a future president will use just this example to also justify starting a war without the permission of Congress. Now, I should point out that this problem, an overreaching executive starting a war and Congress trying to avoid a vote, is not a new phenomenon. While Madison foresaw the danger of a too powerful executive, and he tried to curb it in his allocation of war powers, he didn't foresee, well, actually, he was too naive about Congress. He didn't foresee that Congress might strive mightily to avoid voting on a war authorization measure. And so the overwhelming number of wars in our history have started just this way, initiated by an executive prior to a congressional declaration. Sometimes Congress has subsequently acted to ratify the president's actions, and sometimes, like now, Congress has stayed on the sidelines. But the duration of this war and its likely future duration is without any parallel in our nation's history. Here's the good news. Congress can fix this. We need to shoulder our responsibility and take up an authorization of this war against ISIL. It's immoral to continue sending Americans into war if we're unwilling to vote and support the war. If we do vote to support it, and I believe we should, and I believe if we have a vote, we will, the war can go forward as appropriately authorized. If for some reason Congress votes against an authorization, I would be bitterly disappointed, but I would nevertheless suggest we should follow the will of Congress and at that point stop what would be an illegal war. This unusual and lengthy executive war has also demonstrated the need for additional reforms. The post-9/11 war authorization that you've lived under, we've lived under, has now been utilized for more than 15 years to take military action against multiple groups in more than a dozen countries. It's time for a revision. I'm sure you've talked about this, the rising role of non-state terrorist and criminal groups who will use violence to achieve their ends require us to think differently about the nature of war in the 21st century. New technologies like drones and cyber attacks have raced ahead of our military doctrines. And finally, the breakdown in a productive dialogue between the executive and legislative branches over how wars begin and end should call us to broader reforms of the War Powers Resolution of 1973. Look, I know this. Having an agreed-upon better process for consultation between the executive and Congress about the initiation of war will not make a decision easy. Deciding to initiate war should always be the hardest decision we make because of the consequences. But the lack of any clear process for consultation and decision takes difficult national security challenges and makes them even harder to resolve. For this reason, Senator John McCain and I, Senator McCain is my Armed Services Chair, have proposed a War Powers Consultation Act based on work done at the University of Virginia to develop an agreed-upon framework for making the most fundamental decision we should ever make as a nation, whether or not we go to war. As I conclude, I want to come back to that oath. I note that the oath taken by American troops, presidents, and senators shouldn't be exclusive to those of us who have military or political titles. All of us should care about the Constitution, about not only doing the right things, but doing the right things in the right way. To the extent that members of Congress think they can avoid a hard vote required by the Constitution, they only believe they can avoid it because of their belief that the citizenry will not hold them accountable for it. You need to hold us accountable. No one should understand that responsibility more than a VMI graduate schooled in the mission to create citizen soldiers. This VMI mission is ultimately about creating values-based leaders. And in that sense, each of you have a personal challenge that is exactly the same as the institutional challenge I've described about war powers questions. In Congress, we have a clear rule. but when confronted with a tough challenge, many are tempted to avoid the clear rule. You will face tough choices by the dozens, hundreds, and thousands. Will you rely upon your own constitution, the values and the principles that have been shaped by VMI, by your families, and by your mentors? This institution, and there are very few like it, has ingrained in you a strict moral compass and a passion for integrity. Do not fall victim to the belief that these values, that compass, your integrity can be compromised in a time of crisis. Because if you fail to adhere to your principles, you'll find yourself drifting off course, less sure of your identity and what to do, and also in a position where those you are leading will question whether you have the authority to do so. Good luck and Godspeed to each of you.
Thank you, Senator Kaine. On behalf of Class 2016, I'd like to present you with a gift for coming and speaking to us at the graduation today. Thank you very much.
It is now my pleasure to present the awards for highest achievement to members of the graduating class. Will the cadets whose names are called please come to the steps as they're announced by General Smith. General Smith.
So today we're going to recognize 3 cadets who received the highest medals at Virginia Military Institute. Please come up and take your photograph with General P. The first Jackson Hope Medal for highest attainment in scholarship, accompanied by the Commander Harry Millard Mason Academic Proficiency Award, which is a cash prize to the recipient of the first Jackson Hope Medal, is presented to Cadet Joseph LaMagna IV. Cadet LaMagna completes his VMI degree with a cumulative grade point average at 3.996. He had institute honors, majoring in electrical and computer engineering with a minor in mathematics. He's a distinguished military graduate and will be commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Army. So, the second Jackson Hope Medal for the second highest attainment in a scholarship, accompanied by the Colonel Sterling Murray Heflin 1916 Academic Proficiency Award, which is also a cash prize awarded to the recipient of the second Jackson Hope Medal, is presented to Cadet Matthew John Tonkinson. His cumulative grade point average is 3.978. He's a distinguished graduate with institute honors, majoring in psychology with a minor in national security, and he too is a distinguished military graduate and will be commissioned as second lieutenant in the United States Army. And the recipient of our highest honor, the Society of the Cincinnati Medal, is awarded to that member of the graduating class who has distinguished him or herself by efficiency of service and excellence of character while at VMI. The Cincinnati Medal is accompanied by 2 cash prizes, the Richard J. Marshall Award and the Sumter L. Lowry Award. The 2015 Cincinnati Medal is presented to Cadet John Sherman Zippel. A prosecutor for the Honor Court. He's completed 4 prestigious internships during his cadetship, ranging from a service-oriented project for the United Way to evaluating the effectiveness of electronic warfare systems at the Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory. In the words of one of his professors, from education to service to career, Jack Zippel is keenly conscious in making deliberate choices in life's decisions, displaying maturity beyond his years. He genuinely embodies the spirit of the Cincinnati. So, will all of the candidates for graduation please rise? The Academic Board has presented to the Board of Visitors 136 candidates for the Bachelor of Science degree and 188 candidates for the Bachelor of Arts degree, all of whom have been certified to have completed the requirements for graduation from the Virginia Military Institute. General P.
By the authority of law vested in the Board of Visitors and faculty, I confer upon each of you a diploma and testimony of you being a graduate of the Virginia Military Institute and award you a bachelor's degree appropriate to your major field of study. Institute honors graduates and graduates distinguished in general merit will be called first and receive a distinguished graduate certificate. Please be seated and come forward to the platform as your course groups are called. You sit. We are pleased to call special attention to 19 cadets who have been certified as distinguished graduates with Institute honors. This honor is bestowed only on those who have earned at least a 3.5 cumulative grade average while completing the requirements of their majors and their minors, as well as the additional requirements of VMI Institute honors curriculum. This would be a rare achievement in any college or university, but is particularly noteworthy here given the co-curricular demands placed on cadets by the unique VMI education system. We're also pleased to take special note of 54 graduates who have been certified as distinguished graduates. These cadets have completed their curricular with a cumulative grade point average in excess of 3.5. Again, a remarkable achievement. Congratulations to each of you. General Smith.
Distinguished graduates with Institute honors: Ryan Thomas Poffenbarger, Bachelor of Science in Applied Mathematics, minor in Business, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, distinguished military graduate. John Sherman Zippel, Bachelor of Science in Applied Mathematics, minor in Business. John Michael McKelvey, Jr., Bachelor of Science in Biology, minor in Psychology. Evan Anthony Thompson, Bachelor of Science in Biology, concentration in Biochemistry and Molecular Biology, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, distinguished military graduate. You betcha. Jonathan S.W. Winalski, Bachelor of Science in Biology, concentration in Biochemistry and Molecular Biology. Justino Giuliano, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. Andrew Christopher Stanford, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering, minor in Physics, minor in Mathematics, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, distinguished military graduate. Joseph Lamagna, the fourth, Bachelor of Science in Electrical and Computer Engineering, minor in Mathematics, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, distinguished military graduate. Virginia Marie Bigelow, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering, concentration in Nuclear Engineering, minor in Physics, minor in Mathematics, honors in Mechanical Engineering, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, distinguished military graduate. Dakota Gray Scott, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering, concentration in Nuclear Engineering, concentration in Aerospace Engineering, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, distinguished military graduate. Robert Alexander Elmore, Bachelor of Science in Physics, Ensign, United States Navy. Mackenzie Mary Harmon, Bachelor of Science in Physics, double major in Applied Mathematics, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, and Distinguished Military Graduate. Graham Wade Martin, Bachelor of Science in Physics, minor in Spanish. Austin Tyler Holmes, Bachelor of Arts in Economics and Business, concentration in Global Management, and minor in Spanish. Samuel Lloyd Burgess, Bachelor of Arts in English, concentration in Literary Studies, concentration in Rhetoric and Writing. Patrick John Murray, Bachelor of Arts in International Studies, minor in National Security, minor in Psychology, minor in Spanish, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, Distinguished Military Graduate. Nathan Patrick Sitzman, Bachelor of Arts in International Studies, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, Distinguished Military Graduate. John W. Wainwright IV, Bachelor of Arts in International Studies, minor in National Security, minor in Arabic, minor in Middle Eastern Studies, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, Distinguished Military Graduate. Matthew John Tonkinson, Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, minor in National Security, honors in Psychology, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, Distinguished Military Graduate. The following cadets are distinguished graduates: David Harold Geary, Bachelor of Science in Applied Mathematics. Jared Michael Gruber, Bachelor of Science in Applied Mathematics, minor in Physics, Ensign, United States Navy. Dominic Marshall Stumpo, Bachelor of Science in Biology, Second Lieutenant, United States Air Force. Hayden Trent Alford, Bachelor of Science in Chemistry. Curtis Mark Few, Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, minor in Mathematics, Ensign, United States Navy. James William Fortner, Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, concentration in Biochemistry and Molecular Biology, and minor in Mathematics. Jacob Ryan Allen, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, Distinguished Military Graduate. Nathan Christopher Cole, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering, Ensign, United States Navy. Richard John Drummerhauser III, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering, Ensign, United States Navy, and Distinguished Naval Graduate. Brian Lee Ellis, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. Thaddeus Rex Keyser, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering, Ensign, United States Navy. Nicholas Aniceto Ortiz, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, and Distinguished Military Graduate. David Dennis Smith, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, Distinguished Military Graduate. Ethan Joseph Zebron, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering, Ensign, United States Navy. Sung Bum Chang, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, Distinguished Military Graduate. Connor Michael Ingram, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Robert Paul Nugent, Jr., Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, Ensign, United States Navy. Yihan Chang, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering, concentration in nuclear engineering, minor in physics, minor in mathematics, honors in mechanical engineering, second lieutenant, Republic of China Air Force.
This one.
When, right now? Right now?
Yeah, just announce that one now.
Okay. Zachary Hale Turek, civil engineering. Good. John Anselmo Dante, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering, concentration in aerospace engineering, minor in mathematics, second lieutenant, United States Army, distinguished military graduate. Zachary McKee Hurd, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering, minor in mathematics, honors in mechanical engineering, second lieutenant, United States Army. Colin Peter Yvonne Hughes, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering, concentration in aerospace engineering, minor in mathematics, second lieutenant, United States Army, distinguished military graduate. Murphy Daniel Kerner, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering, minor in physics. Stewart Christopher Milne, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering, minor in mathematics, second lieutenant, United States Army, and distinguished military graduate. Christopher Michael Siebert, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering, concentration in nuclear engineering, minor in physics, minor in mathematics, ensign, United States Navy. John Van Court Wilkins, Jr., Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering, concentration in nuclear engineering, concentration in aerospace engineering, minor in mathematics. Patrick Kevin Madrigal Piedad, Bachelor of Science in Physics, second lieutenant, United States Army, distinguished military graduate. Chang Ching Shao, Bachelor of Science in Physics with nuclear concentration, double major in mechanical engineering, honors in mechanical engineering, ensign, Republic of China Navy. Austin Connor Eden, Bachelor of Arts in Economics and Business. Patrick Michael Hine, Bachelor of Arts in Economics and second lieutenant, United States Army, distinguished military graduate. Isaac Marcel Lewis, Bachelor of Arts in Economics and Business, concentration in Financial Management, concentration in Global Management, minor in French, honors in Economics and Business, second lieutenant, United States Air Force. Trey Calvin Rose, Bachelor of Arts in Economics and Business. Townsend Jeremiah Gray Williams, Bachelor of Arts in Economics and Business, concentration in Financial Management, minor in Psychology. Tyler Joseph Lighton, Bachelor of Arts in English, concentration in Literary Studies, concentration in Philosophy, concentration in Writing. Matthew Daniel Dorito, Bachelor of Arts in History, minor in National Security, second lieutenant, United States Army, distinguished military graduate. Calvin Joseph McFinsky, Bachelor of Arts in History, minor in National Security, second lieutenant, United States Marine Corps, distinguished naval graduate, Marine Corps. Augustus Charles Sortino III, Bachelor of Arts in History, second lieutenant, United States Marine Corps, distinguished naval graduate, Marine Corps. Kenneth Mason Turlington, Bachelor of Arts in History, second lieutenant, United States Army, distinguished military graduate. James A. Voss, Bachelor of Arts in History, minor in International Studies, second lieutenant, United States Marine Corps. Mark Ian Armstrong, Bachelor of Arts in International Studies, minor in National Security, and minor in German. Philip Lloyd Crane, Bachelor of Arts in International Studies, minor in National Security, minor in French, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Amy Elizabeth Hardbauer, Bachelor of Arts in International Studies, double major in Modern Languages and Cultures, minor in Middle Eastern Studies, Second Lieutenant, United States Marine Corps, Distinguished Naval Graduate, Marine Corps. Philip Nathaniel Jones II, Bachelor of Arts in International Studies, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, and Distinguished Military Graduate. James Harrison Latta, Bachelor of Arts in International Studies, minor in Spanish, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, and Distinguished Military Graduate. Andrew J. Leib, IV, Bachelor of Arts in International Studies, minor in History, minor in National Security, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, Distinguished Military Graduate. Daniel Zachary Robinson, Bachelor of Arts in International Studies, Second Lieutenant, United States Air Force. Colby Allen Stubbs, Bachelor of Arts in International Studies, minor in Philosophy, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, Distinguished Military Graduate. Nicholas Donnell Estevan Cueva Cox, Bachelor of Arts in Modern Languages and Cultures, minor in Spanish and French, Second Lieutenant, United States Marine Corps. Jacob Levy Cohn, Bachelor of Arts in Modern Languages and Cultures, minor in Spanish, minor in Exercise Science, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, Distinguished Military Graduate. Kai-Ying Wang, Bachelor of Arts in Modern Languages and Cultures, minor in Art History and Visual Culture. William Schaefer Wymond, Bachelor of Arts in Modern Languages and Cultures, minor in Spanish. Dylan Tyler Davis, Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, Honors in Psychology, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, and Distinguished Military Graduate. The following cadet will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Applied Mathematics. Connor Jan Norris with distinction. Following cadets will receive Bachelor of Science degrees in Biology. Philip Reed Anderson with distinction. Concentration in Ecology, Conservation, and Organismal Science. William Blake Condrey with distinction. Andrew Morgan Glenn Day with distinction and Second Lieutenant, United States Air Force. Patrick Ryan Eberhardt with distinction, Ensign, United States Navy, Distinguished Naval Graduate. Emily Shelton Hill. Connor Thomas Hogan with distinction, minor in chemistry. Robert Stewart Howard III. Max Stephen LeBreg. Concentration in Biochemistry and Molecular Biology. Bridget Ann Pulio, minor in Spanish. Jonathan David Winters II, Ensign, United States Navy. The following cadets will receive Bachelor of Science degrees in Chemistry. Ming Chang with distinction, concentration in Biochemistry and Molecular Biology, minor in Mathematics. Micah Stephen Gorman, with distinction. Zachary MacArthur Kibler, with distinction, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Tang Yin Lin, with distinction, concentration in biochemistry and molecular biology, Second Lieutenant, Republic of China, Army. Ryan David Michio, with distinction, honors in chemical research, Second Lieutenant, United States Air Force. Garrett Wade Warren, with distinction, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. The following cadets will receive Bachelor of Science degrees in Civil Engineering. Scott Auburn Beasley, with distinction, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, Distinguished Military Graduate. Travis Michael Borkey. Jacob Daniel Burton. Lewis Judson Burton. Jacob Michael Concannon, Ensign, United States Navy. Maxwell Lee Cormier, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Jack Patrick Crowley, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Christopher William Davis, minor in mathematics, Ensign, United States Navy. Skylar Preston Farr, with distinction, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Stephen Arthur Finland. Matthew Ardell Gallimore. Travis Michael Gordon. Austin James Grooms. Stephen Christopher Guzzi, with distinction, Ensign, United States Navy. Joshua Hedrick Gutyar, with distinction. Robert Noel Hopkins III. Matthew Scott Johnson, with distinction, minor in mathematics, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Mark David Judy. Benjamin Mo Condon Barani. Joseph Clark Klakowski. John Michael Nick II. Lawrence Joseph Lincoln III, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Raymond Jordy Long, with distinction, Ensign, United States Navy. Taylor Benjamin Long. Thomas Robert McFadden, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Nicholas J. Meyer. Dominic Jeffrey Mutter, with distinction, Ensign, United States Navy. John Jaeun Park, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Robert Lindsay McCormack Pierce, with distinction. Andrew Stephen Pitts. Cody James Portell. Benjamin George Chakru. Braden Cole Souder with distinction. James Austin Tavener II. Andrew Robert Thayer with distinction, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Jake Tyler with distinction, minor in mathematics, Ensign, United States Navy. Is that right? Okay. Gabriel Nicholas von Hafner with distinction, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Mark C. Warwick. Clayton Jeffrey White, Jr. Dylan Lee Wright, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Michaela Danette Wright, minor in mathematics. Stephen Edward Wolf with distinction. Michael Joseph Young. Arthur Chen-Yu Yu with distinction. Robert Tyler Zane. Timothy John Zabrowski with distinction, Second Lieutenant, United States Marine Corps. The following cadets will receive Bachelor of Science degrees in Computer Science. Holden Matthew Shepard, Ensign, United States Coast Guard. Christopher Lee Shiflett. Ryan Matthew Titzer with distinction. The following cadets will receive Bachelor of Science degrees in Electrical and Computer Engineering. Dylan Ray Angelo Blackburn Jones with distinction, minor in mathematics. Devin Lawton Florendo with distinction, Ensign, United States Navy. Matthew Crowley, HODAP, with distinction, minor in mathematics. Dominic Vincent Romeo, with distinction, minor in mathematics, minor in computer engineering. And Daniel Anthony Wanamaker. Bachelor of Science degree in Mechanical Engineering will be awarded to the following cadets. Joshua Luke Brunson, with distinction, concentration in Aerospace Engineering, minor in Mathematics, Ensign, United States Navy. Jordan Daniel Burkholder, with distinction, minor in Mathematics. William Robert Randolph Camp, with distinction, concentration in Aerospace Engineering, Second Lieutenant, United States Air Force. Matthew James Carter, with distinction, concentration in Nuclear Engineering, minor in Physics. Cody Wayne Damewood, with distinction, minor in Mathematics, Ensign, United States Navy. Daniel Fort Flowers III, with distinction, minor in mathematics. Brian Patrick Hardick, with distinction, minor in mathematics, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, distinguished military graduate. Mike Kent Jacobs, with distinction, concentration in nuclear engineering, minor in mathematics, second lieutenant, United States Marine Corps. Eric Rawson Scott Johnson. Jacob Richard Maltby, minor in mathematics. Michael R. Matthews with distinction, concentration in nuclear engineering, second lieutenant, United States Army. Caleb Wayne Prather, minor in mathematics, second lieutenant, United States Marine Corps. Coulter Gage Snowbarger, with distinction, second lieutenant, United States Air Force. Alexander Lewis Swafford, with distinction, concentration in aerospace engineering, concentration in nuclear engineering, second lieutenant, United States Army. Stephen Owen Taylor, concentration in nuclear engineering. Kiefer Matthew Miller Valencia, concentration in nuclear engineering, minor in physics, minor in mathematics, ensign, United States Navy. Marcel D. Ward. Logan Blakely Waters with distinction, minor in mathematics. The following cadets will receive Bachelor of Science degrees in physics. Troy Allen Emig with distinction, minor in mathematics, ensign, United States Navy. Bennett Ross Sutherland Lind with distinction, concentration in biochemistry and molecular biology, second lieutenant, United States Army. Bachelor of Science degree in psychology will go to Zachary Charles Fry, second lieutenant, United States Army. And to Thomas Felix Nenartowicz, ensign, United States Navy. And Gabriel Salazar Pancho. Raul Pineda II, minor in leadership studies. The following cadets will receive Bachelor of Arts degrees in biology. Meredith Page Baldassare with distinction, minor in exercise science. Kenneth P. Clark III. Connor James Cully with distinction, ensign, United States Navy, distinguished Navy graduate. Derek Michael Emerson, second lieutenant, United States Army, distinguished military graduate. Martin Greer Frazier. Armando Herrera dos Reyes, with distinction, second lieutenant, United States Army. Connor Matthew Meyer, concentration in ecology, conservation, minor in exercise science, second lieutenant, United States Army. Tashi Setsang, second lieutenant, United States Army, distinguished military graduate. Lorenzo Enrico Stola, minor in exercise science. The following cadets will receive Bachelor of Arts degrees in economics and business. Philip Michael Anglade. Anthony Joseph Bianchi, with distinction, concentration in financial management, second lieutenant, United States Army. Thomas Baker Bourne with distinction. Daniel Timothy Bull. David Wilson Godfrey Burke with distinction, concentration in financial management. John Edward Burton with distinction, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Davis Oliver Chandler with distinction, Ensign, United States Navy. Andy Sung Soo Choi with distinction, Second Lieutenant, United States Marine Corps. Paul Savanac Copley with distinction. Michael Anthony Coppolino, Second Lieutenant, United States Marine Corps. Jacob Dean Cowgill. Daniel Clayton Denise with distinction, minor in Spanish, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Dustin D. Desch. Robert Friesland DeWolf. Bennett Luke Dotson, concentration in financial management, Ensign, United States Navy. Mitchell Stewart Downing. Benjamin Robert Eberhart with distinction, concentration in financial management, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, distinguished military graduate. Eric Lee Fries. Sean Patrick Gardner, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Aaron David Gibbs, Second Lieutenant, United States Marine Corps. Brandon Michael Goodwin, with distinction, concentration in financial management. Jacob Tyler Golt, with distinction, concentration in financial management, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, distinguished military graduate. Stephen Estes Hupp, Jr. Julian David Jackson. Christian Thomas Jones. Zachary Jason Kaplan. Ryan Michael Lowe, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Jonathan Stanley Lohr. Luke John Lucioni. Ian August Marinacci, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Kevin McClellan Marshall. Tim Marshall. Bernard Vincent Matnick, concentration in financial management. Peter Thomas Melchone. John Connor Mildrum. Connor Powell Morgan with distinction, minor in French, Second Lieutenant, United States Marine Corps. Philip Michael Morton. Elizabeth Michelle Nickerson. Jacob Michael Norris with distinction, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, Distinguished Military Graduate. Ryan Harry Puchetti. Larson Kemper Rademacher. Tyler Sean Robinson with distinction, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Cody Scott Shirley. Gregory Cole Spicer. Jason William Stafford, concentration in global management. Paige Elizabeth Taylor with distinction. Ali Hannah Van Valen. William Elliott Warren with distinction. The following are presented Bachelor of Arts degrees in English. Joe Gordon Boswell. Caitlin Jean Jackson with distinction. Jackson Wyatt Kim with distinction, concentration in philosophy, concentration in art history and visual culture, concentration in rhetoric and writing, concentration in literary studies. Christine Marie Noling with distinction, concentration in rhetoric and writing, concentration in literary studies, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, Distinguished Military Graduate. Miles Elliott Manley, concentration in rhetoric and writing, concentration in literary studies, concentration in philosophy. Hunter Adam Morgan with distinction, concentration in rhetoric and writing, concentration in literary studies. Joseph Matthew Nelson, concentration in rhetoric and writing, concentration in literary studies, concentration in philosophy. Anthony Protogiru, concentration in rhetoric and writing, concentration in literary studies, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Andrew Walter Rauziski, concentration in rhetoric and writing, concentration in literary studies. You betcha. Bryce Anthony Teague, concentration in rhetoric and writing, concentration in literary studies. The following cadets will receive Bachelor of Arts degrees in history. Michael Thomas Algrim, concentration in military history, minor in rhetoric and writing, minor in literary studies, Second Lieutenant, United States Marine Corps. Peyton Levi Bailey, minor in Asian Studies. Seth David Ballard, concentration in military history, ensign, United States Navy. Stephen Alexander Bolt with distinction, double major in modern languages and cultures, concentration in military history, Second Lieutenant, United States Marine Corps. Apostolos Pausanias Komenos with distinction, concentration in military history, minor in Spanish, ensign, United States Navy. Brandon Robert Fleming, minor in literary studies, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Travis Anderson Fudge with distinction, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Ian James Garlock, minor in Arabic, second lieutenant, United States Army. William Young Gregory, concentration in military history. Mason Warren Hitt, with distinction, second lieutenant, United States Army. Hey. Jake Patrick Iapicca. Aaron M. Long, minor in French, minor in Asian Studies. Jacob Taylor Mielik, with distinction, minor in Asian Studies, second lieutenant, United States Army. Mark Barrand Miller, second lieutenant, United States Army. Jackson Scott Morgan. Thomas Robert Rashaw, with distinction, minor in German, second lieutenant, United States Army, and distinguished military graduate. Jeremy Wiseman Sin, with distinction. Christian David Shaner, concentration in military history, second lieutenant, United States Army. Andrew Thomas Starnes, with distinction, second lieutenant, United States Army. Erin Nicole Swinson, with distinction, minor in Arabic and minor in business. Stephen Alexander Trotman. William Richard Whitfield, concentration in military history. Edward Laporte Wilkinson, with distinction, minor in French, second lieutenant, United States Army. The following cadets will receive Bachelor of Arts degrees in International Studies. Alana Nicole Neri Abenajar. Joseph Patrick Amato, with distinction, minor in history. Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Wesley Estrada Barta, with distinction. Jackson John Bartlett, with distinction, second lieutenant, United States Army, and distinguished military graduate. Emily Jude Barut, with distinction, minor in Spanish. Sydney Morgan Bly. Carter Lee Chatwood, with distinction. Selena Chan Chip. Connor William T. Chow, minor in military history, second lieutenant, United States Army. Connor James Coughlin, with distinction, minor in German. Michael Jonah Duckworth, second lieutenant, United States Army. Timothy Francis Eddy, Jr., minor in history, second lieutenant, United States Army. Nathaniel David Fowler with distinction, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, and Distinguished Military Graduate. Andrew Paul Fry with distinction, minor in military history, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, and Distinguished Military Graduate. Maxwell Harm Grunet with distinction, double major in modern languages and cultures, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, Distinguished Military Graduate. Jonathan Edward Hald. Scott Charles Heyman, Jr. with distinction and a second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps. William Hepner with distinction and a minor in Spanish. James Monroe Hill IV, second lieutenant, United States Army. Elliot Patrick Howe, minor in German. Mason Alexander Hurt with distinction, second lieutenant, United States Army. Matthew Christian Johnson. Jared Patrick Krug with distinction, minor in German, second lieutenant, United States Army, distinguished military graduate. Michael Taylor Logan with distinction, minor in economics, second lieutenant, United States Army. Gin Ting Lu, minor in Spanish. Duncan Mankin. Nathan Michael Moore, minor in economics. Austin Antonio Luigi Murga, minor in Spanish, second lieutenant, United States Army. A second lieutenant in the United States Army. Nicholas Mark Nadeau with distinction, second lieutenant, United States Army. Matthew Robert Nielsen, second lieutenant, United States Army. Aidan Charles O'Connor with distinction, minor in national security, minor in Spanish, second lieutenant, United States Army. Patrick Hunter O'Shaughnessy with distinction, double major in modern languages and cultures, minor in Arabic, ensign, United States Navy. Andreyovich Onu Frienko, minor in Japanese, minor in Asian Studies. Michael Carmen Pamonti with distinction, minor in Spanish, second lieutenant, United States Army, and distinguished military graduate. Woodward Donahue Plant. Max Brian Perazzo, second lieutenant, United States Army. John Henry Reeves IV with distinction, second lieutenant, United States Army. Ryan Timothy Ritchie. Christian Arthur Rowcliffe with distinction, second lieutenant, United States Army, and distinguished military graduate. Clark Chapin Ruska, with distinction, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, and Distinguished Military Graduate. Chank Tyler Russell, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Stephen Philip Shank, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Thomas Andrew Skybicki, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Maggie Ross Straub. Marie Kristen Terra, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Nicholas Jacob Tears. Morgan Nicole Thomas, minor in Middle Eastern Studies, minor in Arabic, and minor in Psychology. Moise Mehboob Valiani, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Daniel Adair Whitaker, with distinction, double major in Modern Languages and Cultures. Michael David Williams, with distinction, minor in History, minor in French, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, and Distinguished Military Graduate. William Frederick Darrowin, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Alexander Jeffrey Guerra. Adam Matthew David Hansen, with distinction, minor in International Studies, minor in Middle Eastern Studies, and an ensign in the United States Navy. Travis Austin Klein, with distinction, minor in Economics, minor in National Security. George Justin Henry Litticoat, with distinction. Ryan Patrick McKenna, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Nathan Andrew Sutherland, double major in International Studies, minor in Middle Eastern Studies, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. William Hayden Tabor. The following cadets will receive Bachelor of Arts degrees in Psychology. Riker John Convento, with distinction, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Lauren Scott Dreeland, with distinction, minor in German. Logan Nicole Edwards, with distinction and honors in psychology. Miranda Ray Emery. Denton Shull Ensminger. Emily Caitlin Farsakian, with distinction, minor in Leadership Studies, minor in Rhetoric and Writing, honors in Psychology, Second Lieutenant, United States Army. Udayoan Garcia. Hannah Marie Harley, with a minor in Philosophy. Dakota Christian Hendricks, minor in German, Second Lieutenant, United States Air Force. Dewey Lee, with distinction, minor in business. Cassandra Renee Minifield. Douglas Nathaniel Moore. Sierra Leanne Payne. Derek Ryan Thurman, with distinction, minor in rhetoric and writing and honors in psychology. Jordan Maxwell Wethy.
Let's have one more round of applause for all these graduates. The chaplain will now pronounce the benediction, after which the VMI Regimental Band will play the VMI Spirit. The new regimental commander, Cadet Timothy J. Davison, will then publish brief orders, after which this commencement ceremony is adjourned. Chaplain Park.
Receive this benediction. God bless the class of 2016 with the vision of Francis H. Smith, the faith of Stonewall Jackson, the wisdom of George C. Marshall, the compassion of Jonathan Daniels, so that the Institute might be heard from in your day. Amen.
Attention to orders. Leave of absence. Leave of absence until 28 August 2016 is hereby granted to all cadets. Cadets returning from furlough must register at the guard room before that time. Relief from duty. The class of 2016 is hereby relieved from duty.